What's up guys, Jaden Irwin here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. This is part 4 of the Sapling Crash Course. So if you are following along, that's awesome. If you haven't quite yet finished that last part, that's totally fine. Go ahead and do that. But by the end of that, what you should have is this blog page here. And we've got our blog actual page and then the blog index. So that's pulling from markdown files, which is pretty typical that you would expect for a web framework to do. What we're going to be doing in this next part is actually talking about images. It's a sore subject for a lot of web developers because they're sometimes a pain to deal with. And really a lot of web frameworks have made it much easier, like Next.js and Astro. They have awesome image support built in. So with Sapling, I've taken my own stab at images, at least the start of it. So keep that in mind. This is the first iteration of image support built into Sapling. And if you go to the Sapling mono repo, if you go to our repo and scroll down, you're going to see that there's a new package called image. So @sapling/image is the package. And there's a little bit of documentation there if you are curious of how to use it and have questions. If you do have questions, leave a comment below. I'm happy to help out. And this is actually based on a WASM Dino, and we don't have to go into too much of the details under the hood, but it's actually based on, if we go to the package here, we should be able to search for this. There's an awesome package that I found that doesn't have enough stars. It must be pretty new, but I would highly recommend, I'll leave a comment actually in the description below, go and star this repo because it is awesome. It's very fast at optimizing images, and it does it with WASM. So if you're not familiar with WASM, it is essentially a way to run lower level code in the browser. It's very fast at especially things like this, where you can optimize images on the fly, or you can do it locally through your computer. A little side tangent there, but go give that WASM image optimization package a star. I'll leave a description below. And this is sort of a wrapper around that package, because that package, it does this, but it doesn't do it necessarily in the way that you would want to for websites, right? It doesn't have that out of the box. So what we are doing is wrapping it with our own take of what the defaults could be. And you can see here, let's just go ahead and hop into it. I actually have a couple of images already input into the repo. So source, images, blog, and you've got this AI generated nice photo of a Porsche on the coastline. And we've got an image here, just some nice images that I generated in Midjourney. Can't go wrong with Midjourney. So what we're going to do is optimize these images. And to be honest, some of these are actually pretty big. So, 6.4 megabytes for this image here, that's a very large file that you don't want to serve to your end users. You're definitely going to slow your website down a ton if you're sending them that raw PNG that has just all of that data that the end user for your website doesn't need. What we're going to be looking at is the new Sapling Image Package. So we're going to do Dino add, and obviously npm would work too. Because JSR package, it would be npx JSR add, I believe. But because we're using Dino, we're going to do that. So Dino add JSR at Sapling image. So it's going to add that package real quick. And the way this works is very similar to our other build scripts. So we do have our git blog files script from the previous part. We're going to go to a new script here and just do images.ts. And we're going to do import optimize images from @sapling/image. Cursor is already picking up on what's going on here, but let's do optimize images. We'll close that. We'll do a .then .catch. Okay, so cursor's getting ahead of me here. But basically you have optimize images as a function of this script. And then you have .then .catch. So it'll log what gets output, and then it will catch any errors as well. So very simple script that hopefully you're familiar with running scripts. But if not, then welcome to the world of scripts around your website. So we have these entries, right? And you can see that cursor is actually picking up on the documentation for this package. that I wrote, but we do have entries, and then the entries is just an object of inputs and outputs. So it can take a directory of files. So if you just want to give it a directory of images, if you look at our source, we have source, images, blog, right? You could actually just do that and it would output wherever you tell it to output. But what we're going to do is a little bit more individual. We're going to do source, images, blog, nature walk 24, and then thoughts on sapling. So we are, for now, let's just do one. So we're going to do source, images, blog, nature walk is the source folder of images, right? And then we are going to tell it where to output the output optimized images. And this is pretty cool, so stay tuned. So we're going to run this in a second. So static images blog. So this tells it where to output those images. And you're just around Sapling's concept of a simple framework. There's no point in really running on every build of your site images. Like, you don't need to optimize images over and over that you've already optimized. So that's really like the simpler web framework trademark of Sapling is, why would I keep optimizing an image? And some of the frameworks, they actually do cache and watch if you made changes to those files, which is cool. But really the concept here is it just simplifies the whole flow. So if I have some images for this blog, I'm ready to use them, I'm ready to optimize them, I can just go to this build script, set my input and output, and we're going to go to deno.json, and let's make a new task here. So images, and then you've got deno run -a for all permissions, right? And then scripts, that's right, yeah, so scripts images.ts. So this is just a task that we can run when we add new images and we're ready to optimize those images. So we do deno task images. Let's run that and let's watch what it does. So it's going to go into that nature walk folder, and there's two pretty large images in there, and it is actually optimizing those right now. So you have the drive.png and the feature.png. So you're going to notice if you go to the static folder, images, blog, and then nature walk, it output drive large, drive medium, drive small, featured large, featured medium, and featured small. And that was in 9 seconds. Not too bad, really. It's actually really quick for image optimization. And you're only going to do this once, right? Unless those images change, which if the images change, you can go and clear out the folder and run it again. It's not a big deal. But what we're going to do now is actually use those images. Those are being put in the static folder because that's where, if we go to index.ts, that is where our static files are served from. So we have site.get, so all passes like the catch-all at the root level, right? So we can do just /images /blog /nature walk, and we should be able to see that image. So let's test that. Deno task dev. So we're going to get our dev server running again. And let's do /images blog nature walk. And let's do featured -large.avif. So this is one thing that's really cool about that WASM package that we're using, is it does convert it to a different file type as well. So it's not just compressing it, it's also converting it to a much more efficient file type. And really, it's hard to tell the difference between most of these file types because the compression is really high quality, just in the testing that I've been doing. And if you go to the Sapling website, if you go to sapling.land, you go to the showcase, that's actually where these images, they've been optimized already. So feel free to take a look at those. You can right click, open a new tab, and you can see that we've got a Liana large AVIF file right there. So I'm already using it in production. So let's go back. You can see that we have the image optimized here, large, and then if we do medium, slightly smaller, small, and there's the small image, right? So it created multiple images pretty quickly. And remember, you're only running this once unless you change the images, right? So let's go and actually use that in our blog. We're going to go back to our blog, and this is just the blog index page. And you can see the convention that I had here. So it's images, blog, and then the slug of the blog. And then I like to do like just a featured file name. So that way I don't really have to go and update my content. I don't have to put in the image path right here if I don't want to. because it's redundant, right? So let's go back to the pages from our previous video. We're going to go to slug, and then actually let's go to the index, sorry. And then we've got our article right here, right? So this is the article tag. If we inspect, is the article tag for that specific blog post. And then we're going to go to this, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but if we import picture from @sapling image, we already have a helper component that will take in the source. So images /blog /post.slug/featured. And let's see what our error is. It's probably because we're missing something important. Width and height is not assignable. What are we missing? Oh, image class. Image class is currently required. We could turn that off if you don't really want to apply a class to the actual image tag. But in our case, we do. We want width full. This is probably a little bit too short. Let's do height 60. Object cover rounded. Yeah, I think that's good. And then let's go back and refresh. Okay, let's see what we're missing. Images, I believe, is what we want. Yeah, so images /blog. And there you go. We've got an image there. So that image, if we inspect it, it's right here. Images, blog, nature walk, featured large. And if you actually go and look at the source code for this picture, you can absolutely go make your own picture component. This is just a helper. So if you go to the source code for our image component or image package, we have a picture folder here. So picture.ts, and it's not a big file, right? This is just a pretty simple picture component that uses the defaults that come from the image package. So obviously, if you're customizing things, you probably will actually want to go and copy this source code and make your own version. But really, this is just a nice helper that generates a picture element with the same defaults that the image optimization is doing. So you can have width, image class, height, pretty typical things that you would want for a picture element. Nice, that's built in, I think. And then let's see, so we've got images, blog, nature walk. And the reason why we don't have the other ones working for featured, because we do have featured images in there, is because we didn't actually pass those into our scripts. So let's actually do that. We're going to go to scripts, images.ts, and we've got nature walk 2024, I believe, and thoughts on sapling. And this is thoughts on sapling. So give me some feedback about this. If this is confusing, let me know. But I actually feel this is one of the simplest. Oh, and it's going to complain because we've got a hyphen in there. Let's run it again. Dino task images. Let it do its thing. But yeah, let me know if you're confused, if this is weird. I just feel like this is one of the simplest ways to deal with images in bulk on a site without using obviously something like Cloudinary or a headless CMS that's handling image optimization for you. Obviously that is another like really great option, is just use an API on your images. And I actually have some thoughts around that, so stay tuned. I think there's a way that we could do that pretty simply on your Sapling site, but still obviously experimenting with a new framework. Let's go ahead and run that again on the server. And there you go. Our featured images for those blog posts are right there. Let's go to the slug, and we're going to go to blog slug. And we've got a header. You could probably put the picture in there. And we need an image class. Let's import picture from Sapling image. Now let's go to the page. Let's see what we've got. You're going to inspect it. Stay tuned. I'm going to debug this a little bit. There you go. Just needed a slash. There you go. We've got images being served. We could make this much taller. We could do height, 400 pixels, something like that. Pretty typical. And there you go. You got a typical blog layout of images, featured images, and these are fully optimized. So if you make this smaller, it's a picture element. So it's swapping out the image based on the width right there. All right, so you've got featured small, and if you hover over it, this is a nice thing about Chrome Dev Tools. We can go smaller, and we should be able to yeah, there we go. So the current source is the small size. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. This part is just to go through image optimization and using those images in the blog. The next part is going to be styling our blog a little bit, and then we're going to talk about syntax highlighting and all that fun stuff too. So yeah, we are building a true dev blog in this crash course. So hopefully you guys like it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.